Welcome to Down to Earth Astrology and Primal Girl Wellness. This is Miss Jenny, and I am your astrologer. So this is going to be a super quick video because I just got the information. Looking at the beginning of the trial for war crimes in the International Court of Justice at The Hague in the Netherlands against the nation of Israel. And just so we're clear, because I've not been bashful about this from the beginning of this conflict, Netanyahu is a monster, and he does not have supporters or allies. He has enablers. So that's my position on this. So apparently South Africa initiated this, and there are multiple nations who have joined forces and agreed that what the nation of Israel is doing to the Palestinians, who are basically just trapped, they're literally sitting ducks, is just beyond description horrible. Anyway, so this is a chart for the trial or the hearing, I guess, what you would call this, at The Hague. I wish they would take Trump there, but you know, time. Okay, so the trial started January 11th, 2024 in The Hague, Netherlands. The time set was 10 a.m. There will be two hearings, the 11th and the 12th, both set for 2 hours. So we're starting it from the beginning of the very first part of this trial. And again, this is a new way of doing things. I don't typically do legal charts, you know, for a number of reasons. Lawyers are your best source of advice in situations like this. But this is pretty important. This is pretty important. And honestly, I'm getting tired of the lies and the gaslighting. I'm just tired of it. I mean, could everyone please stop insulting our intelligence? We're not all that stupid. I'm just saying. I can't. I'm like up to my teeth with this. Okay. So if I'm looking at this chart correctly, given that this is a new way of doing things, right? Or at least it is for me. The first house is going to represent people who take the action. The seventh house are the people who receive the action, right? Because the first house is an Aries house. It is initiative driven. The seventh house is a Libra house. It is very responsive to the input and reactions of other people. So that's why we're using first, seventh house stuff. This is not the same thing as setting up a chart for sports games. So for those of you who are thinking we can use these rules and apply them to, you know, looking at charts for sports games for betting, this isn't it. I tried. It's not consistent enough I wouldn't bet money on that. Okay. So the first thing is we look at the condition. Right now, what we're really interested in is condition of the defendant, which would be Israel. Israel in this chart, because we've got 15 Aquarius rising and 5, 10, 11, 12, like 12 Scorpio in the midheaven using Cook houses. In any event, we have Aquarius rising representing the people the International Court, who's taking Israel to task, and the seventh house represents Israel defending itself. So the sun becomes the ruler of Israel in this chart. The sun in this chart is in the 12th house. It's part of a new moon. It is sandwiched between the moon and Pluto, and it's not great. The sun, the ruler of Israel in this chart, if I'm reading it correctly, is at its weakest position. The only thing weaker than their rulership in this chart is the moon, and the moon represents the public and public opinion. And literally the moon in this chart is so freaking weak, it's like it's subterranean levels. It's so far below the floor. So they couldn't, and it's a new moon, so they literally couldn't be in a worse position in terms of public opinion, which you don't need an astrologer to tell you. Like, all you got to do is watch the news and look around you, right? And oh, by the way, did you hear about the Orthodox Jews in New York and the whole like secret tunnels like leading out to the women's bathhouse near a children's museum? Yeah. Anyway, just weirdness. Okay. So that's the first thing. So they're not starting off on a real strong foot here. This doesn't look good. This really doesn't look good. So, you know, but does the offense or the people taking them to task, the International Court, you know, have a solid or strong leg to stand on, right? So in this case, with Aquarius rising, we have Saturn and Uranus ruling the International Court, depending on which you use, modern or traditional rulerships. What we do know for sure is that the part of fortune is right there on the ascendant. This gives the International Court of Justice a tremendous amount of power and strength and solid footing in this situation or in this particular proceeding, which means that everything is in favor of whatever the international court is pursuing. So it is, the international court is in a strong position. Israel is not. And I mean this by extremes, put it this way, at extremes. So this isn't looking great. Now here's the rub, right? So a couple of things that I noticed about this chart. So even with the sun ruling Israel being part of this new moon, right, which sets up a whole new cycle of experience, there's something significant about this particular new moon in Capricorn. And in another video, we'll get more into this. But in this particular case, if we use modern rulerships, that new moon, which involves the rulership of Israel in this trial at the International Court for War Crimes, is trining Uranus. Now remember, the sun and moon are both like almost paralyzingly weak in this chart. So they're literally, you couldn't be in a worse position in terms of having any defense at all. No surprise. But it is trining Uranus. So that suggests upsets. And Uranus is in the third house. And it also suggests that there's possibility that there may be, inconvenient truths revealed during this time as a result of this trial. So I would keep an eye on, Israel is just, they're not going to get out of this that easy. But what's more important and critical here is what is going to be discovered or revealed as a result of this trial. That was completely unexpected. So that's something to watch for. Also, too, look for more severe breaks and severances between Israel and other countries and allies and nations. Right now, the way things are going, the thing to keep in mind is that the United States is going to suffer the worst brunt of this. We are in bed with Israel because we need their technology, not only for terrorist defense, because we've been utilizing them for a long time now. Their anti-terrorism trainings and stuff, so all come from Israel. But also, too, apparently there's something with Israel and it's either the batteries for electric cars or electric car technology. There's something with EVs in Israel that's very, very important. They're doing stuff. So we're in bed with them specifically for that reason as well. And we know that with climate change and, the industry here and all sort of stuff, we need more EVs on the road. And this is a big push that the Biden administration is working towards. So he doesn't need that derailed if Israel is critical to that particular infrastructure, because he's already on shaky ground. So that could also explain the government, or this current administration's hesitancy to do what needs to be done, and that's pull the plug financially on, basically people committing genocide in front of our eyes and then lying to us every 2 seconds about it. Oh my God. Anyway, listen, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying, watch the news, pay attention. So there's that. Okay. Now, the other thing too is that Venus, what's interesting about this chart, remember this is a powerfully important criminal trial against a nation, because we haven't had a case for war crimes, especially genocide, in a long time. And that's a heavy charge. That's a very heavy charge. So Venus is in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius, of course, rules the law and international law and foreign affairs, right? And it is at the very top of this chart. Venus sits in the medium of this chart, bringing this into a very high focus. So this suggests that whatever is going on with this particular trial is going to be not only very visible to the world, as it should be. It's the Hague. It's the International Court. It's genocide. But also, too, could have a huge impact for, the future on multiple levels. So it's not just about taking one nation to court for war crimes. This is something that's going to set a precedent, because remember, it's a new moon. This is going to set a precedent for things to come as we roll out the future. There will be many ripples and waves coming out of this. That's going to affect all of us and future generations. Now, the Venus in this particular chart it's a wide square to Neptune. I wouldn't necessarily use that so much. And other than that, it doesn't really do a lot, except it makes a sextile to that part of fortune conjunct the ascendant of the International Court. So the International Court, again, there's more suggestion and support. The International Court has this down to rights, like hands down. Like they've got everything, all the cards in their hand are in their favor for successfully trying this and getting the decision that they're pursuing, right? Or however that works legally. Okay, now, if we use Saturn as the ruler of the first house instead of Uranus, right? Because, Aquarius, modern versus traditional rulers. Saturn is in the first house, again, giving strength to the international court. Saturn is also making a sextile to Mars, which gives that a lot of force and power. Now, here's what's interesting about this particular aspect. If we use Saturn, right, Mars rules the ninth house of legal affairs, right, and foreign affairs and international affairs and international law, right? Mars, we also know, remember, this month Mars is out of balance pretty much all month, so it's at its maximum orbit in terms of really expressing itself. So Mars, as it comes down like a hammer, because that's what Mars does, bang, comes down like a hammer. It has a tremendous amount of strength. So with Mars sextiling that Saturn, and Saturn being in the home court advantage for the international court, if the international court decides to come down like a hammer, they're going to, like Thor's hammer. Boom! Oh, this is going to be ugly. Oh, this is going to be ugly for somebody, not the international court. Okay, so they're definitely going to set down the law here. So I thought that was interesting. The other thing is that Mars, which rules the ninth house of international affairs and international law and legalities, right, is also in the 11th house, which rules groups of people, large, diverse groups of people. It also rules the future. Okay, and the society as a whole, not your immediate community, friends, family, loved ones, but just the whole ocean of humanity and people you don't know, strangers at bus stops, people that you work with, people that you pass by in grocery stores. This is the 11th house. Now, Mercury is at the 27th degree near that Mars in the 11th house. So there's a lot of urgency and pressure to make decisions, right? To get things done right. Mercury in this chart rules the fourth house, which is the end of the matter, right? So literally whatever happens with this trial, this is it. This is it. There's a finality to this that's going to set the standard forever. Well, maybe not forever, but, for a very, very long time moving forward. Mercury also rules the 8th house, which is the second house of Israel, if we use these angular rulerships. If that is the case, what this also suggests that this may very well be the end of something that has to do with finances and financial support for the nation of Israel. So this is challenging. This is challenging, and also too because Mercury rules their second house of income and assets and resources. This Mercury, as it's sitting at the last degrees of Sagittarius, which is foreign affairs, right? So foreign support, and approaching Mars, which is, all on the side of the International Court of Justice. This particular Mercury is also having just left Neptune. Okay, left a square to Neptune. So what that also suggests is that just recently they would have had, they would have had a separation with people who are financial backers. So any type of financial support they may have been getting from other people, those things have been dismantled and pulled out. So there are people who have pulled out of partnership and support with Israel recently, just before this went to trial. So Neptune is in Pisces. Neptune rules Pisces. Neptune in this chart is going to rule 1, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Their 8th house of support from other people. So Israel has just lost financial support from somewhere. I don't know where. They're not telling us, or maybe they are and I just don't know that, right? Excuse me for not knowing more about global economics. But I would bet you good money Israel has just lost a huge source of financial support from foreigners or other people they've been in partnership with. The United States may be the last people that they're in bed with that'll still speak to them, which doesn't say anything good about the United States. We're literally in a horrible position right now, as if having Trump for president wasn't bad enough, and his whole administration. Dear God, those people. Now we've got this on our hands, right? So in any event, if I'm reading this correctly, Israel has just lost major financial support from someone else, and it's hurting. It's going to hurt. Okay, now, so how is this going to play out? Well, that's a great question. That is a great question. Also, too, I just wanted to point out that Mars, which rules that 9th house of this chart, international affairs, international law, is also trining Exactly. Exactly. Jupiter in the second house. So, and Jupiter rules the law and ethics and principles. So Mars ruling the ninth house of this chart with international law and foreign affairs, trining Jupiter, which also rules international law and foreign affairs, would suggest that these Mars activities will be held to a higher standard and should theoretically be strong and supported without issue. Ooh, okay. So it's not complicated. The outcome and how we arrive to the outcome will not be complicated. It will be very like in your face, visible, obvious. There's no playing games with conspiracy theories and all that stupidity. Sorry for you folks who love conspiracy theories. Okay, so my take on this, and listen, I could be wrong. I'm learning how to read these charts. I'm not a lawyer. There's a lot I don't know about, international affairs and international law, and there's a lot in the news that I just don't know because I can't keep up with everything. So I'm trying to drink from a freaking fire hose. But it would appear that the International Court of Justice is going to hold Israel accountable, the nation of Israel, and Netanyahu specifically, accountable for war crimes and, basically ongoing genocide, and require a ceasefire or something of that nature. They're going to hold them to task, and they're going to have them dead to rights. Excuse the expression. And there's no way that the defender in this trial, as I'm seeing it, which would be Israel in this case, can possibly win this. They're so far deep in the hole, like they're literally never climbing back out of this. They've dug their own grave, and this is what they get. This is literally just the finishing touches, because it's not just about what the International Court decides. Finances are a very, very big and important component of this, and they've lost huge amounts of financial support from partners. So, we'll see. Truth will come out. Remember, inconvenient truths will come out and surprise us all. So we'll see what else is going on here that we didn't know about before. Whole lot of stuff coming to the surface and into the light that we weren't aware of until now. Okay, so my friends, that's it. Yep, we're good. We're under 20 minutes. I'm going to end the video here. You can put your thoughts and comments down there. The first person to call me an anti-Semite is going to get blocked. I am not an anti-Semite. And let me tell you something, for all you folks out there who think that you can use the victim card to get out of being criticized, no, you can't. You're either a victim or a survivor. So if your whole identity is built on being a victim, can't help you, right? So it also means that you don't get to run around doing worse things or as bad things as the people who hurt you the first time. We're not the ones who hurt you, okay? And you should be better than that, right? So you're either a victim in life or you're a survivor. If you choose to be a victim and make that the whole of your identity, well, I got nothing but pity for you, because it's all you really get. If you want my respect, you've got to identify as a survivor and behave like one, which means you have to set better examples of how to move forward in life and not get stuck in these petty retaliatory games or act worse than the original perpetrator. I'm just saying. So all you hateful little trolls out there, don't test me. Don't test me. All right, so that's it, my friends. And if you watch other astrology channels, so this would be a really good time to put your other astrologers to task. They're so quick to try and teach you something about something. Have them look at this chart. Have them do some predictions. Have them do some actual astrology work that's more than blowing smoke up your butt, right? And making you feel good about yourself. And see what kind of sensible answer you can get. Because if they can't address things like this and give you a reasonable explanation based on what they're saying and be right once in a while, they're allowed to be wrong, but they at least have to stick their neck out there publicly and put on public record what they thought, how they arrived at this conclusion, and then whether they were right or wrong. If they can't at least do that, I don't know what you think you're learning from them, right? I'm just saying, okay? All right, so chin up, hang in there. We're getting there. We're making progress. It doesn't seem like it, but God knows we are making progress. So you just have to hang on to that. Get your mind right. Get your mind right. Okay? And remember, a little bit of meditation does a whole lot of good in terms of rinsing your brain from all the backwash that we're dealing with. And also, it helps to elevate the consciousness of everyone around you. So take some time out to meditate, reboot the system, rinse your brain, and bring everybody up with you. All right, we'll talk to you later.